The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Business Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericabusiness.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to GlobeTalk with Avasant. Avasant is a next-generation global consulting firm that has its finger on the pulse of the global economy. Join us for an exciting look at the world economy. Now, here is your host, Kevin Parikh.
This is Kevin Parikh with Avasant GlobeTalk. On this week's broadcast, we're going to turn the focus away from Africa and to India. India has emerged as a true global economic power over the last 2 decades. Its large pool of highly skilled professionals, engineers, and IT experts, combined with increased speed and efficiency of telecommunications and computing power, has created a perfect synergy, or some might say a perfect storm for innovation that has swept the technology services industry worldwide. India's success in the technology services space has helped engineer an unprecedented wave of economic growth and wealth creation. President Obama recently acknowledged India as a real IT power, and with its growth and economic partnership with the United States, he also made a public endorsement of India joining the UN Security Council. Not bad for a country with just over a half a century removed from colonial rule. Today we have Ram Ramakrishnan. Mr. Ramakrishnan is Executive Director of Bajaj Electricals Limited. He also serves on its board of directors. My pleasure to invite him today. Hello, Ram. Are you on the line?
Hi. Pleasure being there with you, Kevin.
Well, thank you very much for joining Avasant GlobeTalk today. I know that you're dialing in from India this morning.
That's right. Well, this morning there and this night here.
And night there. That's correct. Well, thank you for taking the time out of hours to take this interview.
Thank you so much. So I'm looking forward to this.
So maybe you can give us a little bit of background. Many of our North America audience is not so familiar with Bajaj, although in India and even globally, Bajaj is a household name.
Well, we are a pretty young group in India. We are just about 100 years young. And, Jamnalal Bajaj, the founder of the group, was considered by Mahatma Gandhi as his 5th son. In fact, Gandhiji adopted him. And Jamnalalji played a very crucial role in India's freedom struggle. He bankrolled Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi stayed in Sevagram, which was a village donated by the Bajaj family to him in the central part of India. And Wardha, which was the headquarters of the Bajaj family, became the headquarters of India's freedom struggle. Gandhiji embarked on the Quit India movement from Wardha, which is the hometown of the Bajaj family. But since then, the Bajaj group has played a very important role in free India. Many of the family members in the Bajaj group courted arrest, and they were in jail, in the British jails for very many years. And today, Bajaj Group has emerged as a $7 billion turnover entity with a market cap in the region of about $13 billion. The group employs 40,000 people. We are the number 3 in the world in motorbikes. Honda and Piaggio are ahead of us. Today, we sell about 1 million motorbikes outside India and about 2 million motorbikes within India.
Interesting.
Today, we are an extremely profitable motorbike company. We are a strong steel company. We have an insurance business with Allianz of Germany. And Bajaj Electricals itself is one of the oldest groups in the oldest companies in the Bajaj Group. We are in appliances, fans, lighting, luminaires, engineering and projects, We do rural electrification. We do power transmission. I mean, in a sense, we are like a mini GE in the context of India.
So would you still consider Bajaj a family business? I presume you're not a member of the Bajaj family.
Well, I am not a member of the Bajaj family, but, the Bajaj group today is a professional group, in which deserving members of the family who deserve to occupy leadership roles tend to do that. So it's a family-led, professionally managed enterprise. We have listed entities, and the market cap that I spoke of about $14 to $15 billion is of the listed entities in the group. And we have very diversified shareholding. We have a lot of international shareholders, international funds which hold equity in the company. We are known for our corporate governance. We are known for our ethics. In fact, Bajaj Electricals, inspiring trust, is our byline, and I carry it very proudly on my visiting card.
So what would be the focus of Bajaj Electricals? I presume this is obviously different than the automotive and motorbike business.
Absolutely. Bajaj Electricals is a company which has both consumer-facing and industry infrastructure-facing businesses. On the consumer side, virtually whatever are the products that are needed for homes, like India is a hot country, you need fans. We are India's number 2 or number 3 fan company. Bajaj Appliances is there in every household in India, and we are very strong in water heaters, irons, toasters, microwave ovens, oven toaster grillers, room coolers, etc.
Interesting, much like a General Electric
might
be
in the Indian market. Bajaj Lighting, we are India's oldest lighting company and the number 2 in the industry. And Bajaj Luminaire again we are number 2, and we supply products for roadway lighting, for office lighting, for commercial buildings, for facade lighting, for landscape lighting, etc. So in engineering and projects, we are doing something I'm very proud of. We are taking electricity to nearly 1 million below the poverty line homes. Even today, after 65 years of independence, there are 100,000 villages in India which are dark, which don't have electricity. We are taking electricity and we are currently lighting up 5,000 villages in India and taking electricity to nearly 1 million below the poverty line homes. And that, I think, is a tremendous contribution to the country.
I would agree with you on that contribution. I think the challenge in India, however, has been a tremendous lack of power, available power. How is Bajaj helping to manage that issue? And does it have a role in supporting the development of new power sources in
I think
India?
That's a great question. We work on two sides of the power equation. We have a very strong transmission line tower business. Today, we are an A-class contractor, and we do a lot of work for the Power Grid Corporation in India in doing design, erection, and commissioning of transmission line towers in the country. Plus, the rural electrification is where it's power distribution. So we are on the transmission side and we are on the distribution side.
I see.
We would like to examine what opportunities we have in terms of green energy, what can we do in terms of sustainability initiatives. But you're right, there is a huge challenge in terms of the power sector. India will see about $200 billion of investments in the power industry going forward.
You know, I continue to be amazed with India's challenges and also its ability to surmount and withstand those challenges. You know, in the case particularly of electric power, what success has India had recently with nuclear power, particularly since the opening up of that industry in the country?
Well, the good news is we have been able to arrive at a relationship, even though we are not a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. We have been able to arrive at a proper relationship which also provides tremendous opportunity to American companies to do businesses on the nuclear front in India. So there is a significant opportunity there, because the way we look at it, by the year 2030, nuclear power has to play increasingly a very, very important role. It's a lot cleaner than conventional power. It's not based on depleting resources. And it provides a great opportunity for Indo-US collaboration.
On that point, Mr. President Obama recently visited India. In fact, I think it's just in the last month. What was your perspective of that visit? And I understand you had an opportunity to meet with him.
Phil, that's right. I think President Obama came into Bombay on the 6th of November. I was invited to be a part of the India-USA Joint Business Council and Entrepreneurship Summit. I mean, let me tell you, he had come in fresh from, if I may use the word, the strong drubbing in the elections to the Senate and the Congress. And honestly, I was expecting a slightly meek and a slightly defensive President Obama. But he wowed India. He and Michelle did a fabulous job of reaching out to India. He really gave a wonderful statesman-like speech at the India-USA Joint Business Council. He was full of confidence, he was full of beans, and it was almost like seeing President Obama of the election campaign for the presidency back again. The takeaways that I had, he clearly communicated his deep respect for the contribution of Indians in America, whether it be in academic institutions, whether it be in research, whether it be in the medical profession, whether it be in the software industry, or in terms of higher levels of management. He clearly spoke about the terrific contributions India and Indians are making in daily American life. Quite similarly, he was also very appreciative of the terrific amount of work that good American corporations are doing in India, the people-to-people interfaces that are happening, and I thought that was a very good starting point. He is a strong follower of Mahatma Gandhi. He made it a point to visit the house in Bombay that Gandhiji used to visit for about 20 years of his life and probably stayed there. And that, I think, was a very important moment for him. I think the significant takeaways are there wasn't rhetoric. There was a genuine desire to do business with India. I think what we saw was not President Obama, but what we saw was CEO Obama, who came into India with a mission to do business. He wanted more trade. He wanted more openness. He said, listen, I believe India can contribute to creating jobs in the U.S., and U.S. can contribute to creating jobs in India. And I think that's a wonderful plank to start with.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you're right. I had the occasion to meet him, to shake hands with him. I complimented him by saying, I said, Mr. President, that was a wonderful speech, and you won our hearts. And I meant it. He stopped for a moment. He said, your words mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate that. I'd just spoken a couple of weeks earlier at the Kellogg's Business School. I'd spoken on the New India, Opportunities, Problems, and Solutions. And I presented him a copy of my talk there, the complete presentation. He graciously accepted it, and he thanked me warmly for that. So it was a lovely meeting. And he's charismatic. He's wonderful.
Well, thank you, Ram. I appreciate that. We have a 2-minute break. I look forward to continuing the dialogue with Ram Krishnan. Let's take a few-minute break here.
Thank you so much.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
Avasant, your management consulting firm for the next generation, providing sourcing advisory, globalization, and go-to-market strategies. In an unpredictable world, Avasant is your trusted global advisor. Learn more about us. Go go to www.avasant.com. That's AVASANT.com.
Source, providing global sourcing solutions for IT and business process services. We offer call center sales and support services at the highest industry standards. Cape Source, world-class IT services straight from the heart of Africa. Learn more about us on the web at www.capesource.org.
Are you ready to get freed up? Join Dr. Jennifer Freed, one of America's leading psychological thinkers, for a groundbreaking program with fascinating guests and full participation from you. Freed Up will explore topics like liberation in long-term relationships, parenting in the 21st century, comfort in stressful times, and much more. Tune in to Freed Up every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Variety Channel, and wake up to the heartbeat of your life. When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
You are listening to GlobeTalk with Avasant. We're here to answer your questions about the global economy. Please send an email to globetalk@avasant.com. That's globetalk at Avasant, AVASANT.com. Now, back to our program. Here's Kevin Parikh.
Hello, we're back with Executive Director of Bajaj Electricals, Ram Ramakrishnan. Pleasure to have you on the show, and we're having a very interesting discussion about President Obama's visit to India. And I think one of the interesting questions that I have here is, you know, Mr. Obama has been heavily criticized for sort of touting the U.S. perspective during the visit, and of course U.S. businesses that have created business opportunity in India. But that's not necessarily the bilateral opportunity that you mentioned. I'm curious to see, from your perspective as an executive with Bajaj Electronics, what type of bilateral opportunities do you see that would benefit also Bajaj Electronics from this visit?
I think there is a broader message. The broader message is, hey, listen, America sees India as a very strong economic force, as a very strong partner in terms of taking this world out of its recession, and probably as a very strong market for U.S. corporations going forward. There were two important developments. The GE and the Reliance Group announced some very major relationships when it came to the power sector, and as far as the airline industry is concerned, they found that Indian airline companies were willing to shop. So these were two big deals, and obviously power sector and aviation, if they get a fillip, it's obviously good for the Indian consumer. It's obviously good for corporations like ours, because if there is a massive investment in terms of foreign direct investment that happens, or in terms of excellent opportunity for American corporations to export products in the power sector to India, all the downstream industries and all the upstream industries, there will be a good fillip. And quite clearly the power sector, like the road sector, is a very important engine, a catalyst for growth. So I think it's very relevant and important for Indian corporations.
You know, the focus on employment in the U.S. obviously has been a real concern, and I think that's what you're echoing here in Mr. Obama's statements, particularly with regards to finding opportunities for joint business between the two countries. I think one of the issues that has drawn some criticism, of course, is U.S. conservative policies for immigration, particularly from countries like India, which have experienced, I think, a difficult time in, more recently especially, in bringing executives and also business people to the country for delivering services and support here on an H-1B status. This is a ongoing issue, I think, in the U.S., and it's been a real issue in the IT industry. The IT industry has continued to grow and created a lot of synergies, I think, for other industries also like Bajaj Electronics. But with this concern with employment in the U.S. and maybe even seeing India as a potential challenger for jobs, how will that impact the ongoing relationship between the U.S. and India going forward?
To be honest with you, if you really look at the contribution that immigrants from India who have come into the U.S. either for studies or for jobs, and then later many of them choosing to settle down in the U.S., if you really look at the economic activity that they have spurred, let's look at Silicon Valley. Let's look at the Bay Area. Let's look at the quantum of dollars and the number of jobs that have been spawned thanks to Indian entrepreneurship. Sun Microsystems was founded by an Indian. Today, whether it be Google or it be Microsoft or it be virtually every other corporation, Oracle, there are Indians in very senior positions who are really contributing to the American economic engine. So quite frankly, I think America has been a cradle of innovation, has been a cradle in terms of opportunities, largely because it has embraced people of all ethnicities who have come in there and contributed to the economic miracle of America. I don't think America should put the brakes on that. Every single job that's, let us say, outsourced also results in a significant impact on GDP from the point of view of profitability of corporations, and our analysis shows it also results in 2 high-end jobs in America itself.
I think that's an excellent point, and it should not be lost. Let's be frank. India has also benefited from the IT industry in the U.S. that's largely been driven by non-resident Indians located in the U.S., and I think your point is very well taken. It's also created terrific synergies between the two countries. Now is likely the time to take advantage of those synergies and not try to recoup into more of a conservative posture. Let's see how it actually turns out. I'm very pleased to hear that Mr. Obama's visit was in fact so successful and so optimistic.
As a matter of fact, President Obama said that the $10 billion worth of contracts that American corporations have signed with Indian corporations will result in about 50,000 jobs back home. And I must also mention this to you. Whenever a company is outsourcing, it's usually the non-value-added activities that are getting outsourced. It could be an accounting activity, it could be a call center activity, and quite frankly, what it also results in is significant enhancement in terms of productivity within the domestic market and significant enhancement in terms of global competitiveness. That should never be lost sight of.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. You know, the growth in the IT industry, I imagine, has also had an impact on Bajaj Electronics. You know, the entire sort of perspective of the Indian workforce and quality of Indian labor is really transformed in the last 20 years. How is that impacting the profitability of Bajaj Electronics and the opportunity for Bajaj Electronics to expand outside of the South Asia region?
Today, if I were to look at it, clearly we are one of the top users of Oracle software in India. We have used Siebel for CRM, Oracle EBS, in terms of the core ERP, demand planning, ASCP for supply chain, etc. So the very fact that India is IT savvy has enabled us to take best-of-breed solutions, build it into our IT infrastructure, and thereby create significant value. I mean, in fact, to be honest, if I were to look at our growth platform for the next 10 years, it is based on a very strong IT platform, and I really don't have to worry about any major IT spends. It's more of a maintenance spend in terms of our growth going forward. And here, it's Oracle software that I have bought. I have not bought an Indian software for my ERP, and I think that's the point. Even though India is a big superpower in terms of writing code and software for specific applications. India remains a huge market for Oracle, for Microsoft, for Google, for IBM, and other such American corporations.
No, I
that should never be lost sight of.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think sometimes we do lose sight of that very important factor, and that is that India is a consumer, net consumer of not only high-end goods and services, but also in this case, software products. One of the, I think the core of my question, however, is really on what is Bajaj Electronics' strategy for growing outside of the South Asia region, where it is obviously a powerhouse in the sort of electronic space. And will this U.S. relationship that is hopefully improving from a business standpoint help create partnerships with General Electric and other U.S. companies to potentially enter into new regions such as Africa and Europe and potentially even China?
I think we have partnered with a few companies in the North American continent. Incidentally, we had a collaboration with GE for about 5 years for street lighting in India. And in fact, that was an excellent relationship. Jack Welch was very committed to that. Just now, for example, we have placed an order for a GE Hungary manufactured CFL chain for our compact fluorescent lamp business. It's the world's fastest chain, and again, it's made by an American corporation, and I'm very happy about that. Just to give you an idea, a Chinese chain produces 800 CFLs an hour, a Taiwanese chain produces 1200 CFLs an hour, and this chain produces 2,600 energy-saving lamps an hour. That's good for the world. That's good for the Indian economy. Going forward, what we are attempting to do, we have a relationship with Rood Lighting. Rood Lighting is a leader in the LED business based out of Wisconsin and in Racine. With Rood Lighting, we are looking at innovating and creating the next generation of LED lighting and partnering with them and looking at how we can bring down the cost so Rood Lighting can take advantage of it on a global basis. We have a partnership with Delta Controls of Canada, which has a significant presence in America in the integrated building management system space. We are in the process of concluding an agreement with an outstanding lighting controls company called Leviton in America. So I am looking at bringing in lighting controls technology, LED technology, integrated building management systems technology, HVAC technology into India as a consequence of the Indo-American partnership.
Oh, this is very, very exciting, and I'm really enjoying the discussion today. I'd like to take a 2-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to continue our discussion with Mr. Ramakrishnan, and we're going to turn our direction a little bit toward politics and regional security issues. Thank you.
Whether the market's up or down, or if you're looking to improve your portfolio, our experts are ready to talk to you. Call now. Toll free, 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
Cape Source, providing global sourcing solutions for IT and business process services. We offer call center sales and support services at the highest industry standards. Cape Source, world-class IT services straight from the heart of Africa. Learn more about us on the web at www.capesource.org.
Avasant, your management consulting firm for the next generation, providing sourcing advisory, globalization, and go-to-market strategies. In an unpredictable world, Avasant is your trusted global advisor. Learn more about us. Go to www.avasant.com. That's AVASANT.com.
Technology is changing the way we live our lives and how we do business. On CIO Talk Radio, we talk about the benefits of technology and the great things it allows us to do, as well as its risks. Heard every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Pacific, Sanjog Gall interviews business leaders and other experts that are shaping the way we use technology. To learn more about the show, visit www.ciotalkradio.com. Keep up with the changing world of technology and listen to CIO Talk Radio with Sanjog Gall. Listen in every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Pacific, right here on Voice America Business.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
Listening to Globe Talk with Avasant. We're here to answer your questions about the global economy. Please send an email to globetalk@avasant.com. That's globetalk@avasant.com. Now, back to our program. Here's Kevin Parikh.
I'm here again with Executive Director of Bajaj Electricals, Ram Ramakrishnan. Ram, I'd like to chat a little bit today about something that we discussed on the break. And that's the terror attacks in Bombay, India in November 2008, and what type of impact that's had on not only Indo-Pakistan relations, but ultimately Bajaj Electricals business.
You know, India, if I look at a 5,000-year-old civilization, we have embraced anyone who has come in. We have embraced people from China, embraced people, the Aryan race which came in. We have embraced the Arabs, we have embraced the Persians, etc. We've embraced even the Greek, Alexander the Great, when he came to India. The fact of the matter is, unfortunately, in recent years, we have been facing the brunt of a huge problem, and quite a bit of it probably from sponsored across the border. Now, here is the issue. Our parliament was attacked. Our religious places have been bombed. In Mumbai, in an orchestrated effort in a span of 45 minutes, about 8 suburban trains were bombed, and we had about 500 casualties, 500 deaths. I went to donate blood to the nearby hospital and to see whether anyone who are my friends or employees have got affected. I counted 60 bodies in that hospital myself, and in various stages of destruction. Just imagine, I wrote an article in the Financial Express in India calling it War Against the Global Economy. The choice on 26 November of the Taj and the Oberoi hotels, which represented virtually the entry point into India for virtually every single CEO who wants to do business in India, every single global institution that wants to contribute to India's development. These two were attacked. What does it mean? It wasn't an attack just on India. It was an attack on the global economy.
Yeah, no question. And
unfortunately, what has happened is somewhere American policy has been a little myopic. While there are certain interests that they are pursuing in Afghanistan, and I do understand they need to do business with Pakistan to support their activities in terms of the problem in Afghanistan, at the very same time, there is no doubt at all that it was a cross-border attack. The militants who came, the 12 of them, were of Pakistani origin. They were of Pakistani citizenship. Unfortunately, if I may fault President Obama on his visit, he stood in the Taj, he stood at the Gateway of India, and he did not mention the word Pakistan in his speech. I think that was wrong, because the whole world knows that the attack took place by Pakistani citizens.
Well, and
now, of course, there can be militants in India, there can be militants in Pakistan. That's not something which I'm saying anything about. How it affects us.
Yeah, and I think that the challenges here is, you've addressed this issue perfectly, because the acts of terrorism are truly debilitating, but the challenges in this particular situation are the ties, in fact, that have been identified to Pakistan and the Pakistan government. So when we are talking about what is actually, like you state, more of an active state, how do we actually manage that? With President Obama's visit, I'm sure it was a balancing act for him to be able to manage. But I believe he did send some subtle messages in the amount of time that he spent in Pakistan and other Muslim countries in the past, if you note President Clinton in particular, more so than Obama, made a big statement by visiting Pakistan for just a short period of time. I believe in his visit he didn't even get off the plane. He just sort of landed and made a presentation and then left. So, the amount of focus that India is getting, I think, by the United States versus the amount of focus the United States is giving to Pakistan, I think, is a subtle message, but probably not enough of a message for, I think, the Indian population on this issue.
I'll be quite honest with you. The fact of the matter is billions of dollars that have been given to Pakistan earlier to support the Taliban in Afghanistan, or today to fight the Taliban in the borders. Quite a bit of that money is getting diverted to send militants into Kashmir, send terrorists into India.
I think that's a fairly well documented fact.
And yes, and my submission there is, if America draws the line and says, thus far and no further, I am confident that, the Pakistani government will toe the line. I really don't think America has been assertive enough.
And that's an interesting point, because I do believe the world continues to look to the United States for this type of leadership. And, Mr. Obama did mention, going back to my earlier comments, that he supports India being on the UN Security Council. Is that more of just a sort of a gracious statement than something that may actually turn to reality?
Well, it was music to our ears, because the speculation in the Indian press was that he may stop short of that. I think it was a very bold statement to make, and I think it was well timed. India, I think, deserves. Today, let's face it, we are among 6 countries in the world with satellite launch capabilities. We are among 7 countries in the world which have made their own indigenous car. We are among 3 countries in the world that have built its own supercomputer. We have the world's 2nd largest standing army. And we have a legacy in terms of participating in United Nations peacekeeping missions. We have sacrificed thousands of our soldiers in peacekeeping activities across the world. Today, not only are we an economic superpower, we have been playing a very important role in the non-aligned movement, and today we are a significant political power as well. So I think we deserve a seat in the Security Council.
No question, and I think part of what the point that I was trying to make is maybe it's time now, rather than expecting the United States to have a voice for India or India's behalf with respect to Pakistan, for India to have its own voice. And that position with the UN Security Council would certainly give India more of a platform than it has today to make very assertive comments on its own behalf.
I think, quite honestly, it's not just the Indo-Pak issue. A seat on the Security Council will enable India to amplify the voice of the developing world much more strongly and assertively. I think the biggest opportunity for us is to speak for the less privileged, to speak for peace, to speak for economic development, to speak for a greater fairness in terms of world trade. I think it will put us in a position of influence to make a difference to geopolitics in the world.
Well, we have a short commercial break again, so we're going to take a 2-minute break, and we'll be right back having a discussion on this very important issue.
Whether the market's up or down, or if you're looking to improve your portfolio, our experts are ready to talk to you. Call now toll free 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
Avasant, your management consulting firm for the next generation, providing sourcing advisory, globalization, and go-to-market strategies. In an unpredictable world, Avasant is your trusted global advisor. Learn more about us. Go to www.avasant.com. That's AVASANT.com.
Source, providing global sourcing solutions for IT and business process services. We offer call center sales and support services at the highest industry standards. Cape Source, world-class IT services straight from the heart of Africa. Learn more about us on the web at www.capesource.org.
Are you ready to grow your business? Listen for the Independent Business Owner Show with your coach, Rick Corrado. This entertaining talk radio program will bring you the tools to help increase your business. You'll learn sales success, time management, lead generation, business development, life balance, and much more. Rick Corrado is here to help you take your business to the next level. Listen for the Independent Business Owner Show, heard live every Monday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Business Network.
Voice America Business Network, the bottom line in business.
You are listening to GlobeTalk with Avasant. We're here to answer your questions about the global economy. Please send an email to globetalk@avasant.com. That's globetalk@avasant, AVASANT.com. Now, back to our program. Here's Kevin Parikh.
Well, we're back, and we're continuing our discussion here today about some geopolitical issues, some exciting issues around IT, and President Obama's visit to India. And all I can say is that our discussion with Bajaj Electricals, Ram Ramakrishnan, again, the executive director, has really been insightful. I want to turn the direction of the discussion, if we can, to issues around the environmental pressures in India and some of the aspects of clean electricity and, of course, clean energy production in the country. I'm going to pass it on to our guest to give his comments.
Well, I think it's a huge issue. The environment, I mean, to my mind, if there is one issue other than terrorism that has to be right on top of the agenda in the world, I think it's the environment. Now, here is the catch. The developed countries in the last 200 years, to have their luxuries, to enjoy a high quality of life, have been merrily abusing the environment. And today, if you were to look at the ozone layer depletion, if you have to look at greenhouse gas emission, if you have to look at global warming and everything else, the question is, who's responsible? Are it the people in Africa? Is it the people in Asia? Or where is the problem arising from? Now, today, the world expects the developing countries and underdeveloped countries to develop environmentally in a sustainable manner. But the catch is technologies that are good for sustainability, like solar technologies, LED technologies, CFL technologies, and clean water, clean air, better grade of products that are less energy consuming. All these technologies are being sold at a premium in the underdeveloped countries. I think there is a bit of a hypocrisy in this. When there is a global meltdown, the US prints notes or spends about $3 trillion in terms of a bailout package. Now, even if a fraction of that were to be put into clean energy, even if $100 billion of subsidy were to be given for manufacture of solar cells or for LED technology or for, let us say, desalination in terms of water, and so that we can convert seawater into drinking water, I think the world will be a better place. I thought I will use your platform to convey the need for developed countries to look at sustainability and take it right up their platform.
You know, I recently came back from a visit to China, and one of the things that I learned is that the power of a central government, although with all the negatives associated with not having a free economy, that power is significant. And with that power comes the ability to build a significant amount of infrastructure or direct public funds to these types of projects. And I think we are, in a sense, a victim of our own democracy and our own success, even in the United States. At the same time, this has also been the key to our innovation and growth. But you are correct, I think, in analyzing the situation, and that the developing world has for, I would argue, not just the last 10 years, but probably the last 50 years, had a significant issue associated with not being given the same opportunity to develop. That said, I am a firm believer that the developing world, particularly India and China, can be leaders in environmental technology and also, in fact, be a net benefactor to the world, creating opportunities for new business. I imagine Bajaj Electricals is also a leader, as you mentioned, in clean technologies, which, from a business standpoint, is probably a great place to invest.
Yes, the Bajaj Group has spent about $100 million in terms of wind energy, and we are one of the earliest adopters of wind energy. All our factories run on our own energy, which is generated from wind power. However, having said that, what we are doing is just a drop in the ocean. The key issue is this. The per capita, if I look at greenhouse emissions or carbon, we are one of the lowest in the world. However, we have a huge population. Even though our per capita may be low, I think you're absolutely right. I think corporate India is very conscious of its responsibility towards the environment. I only hope the technologies come a little cheaper.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. As we approach sort of the end of the hour, I really do want to turn the attention to some of your personal interests. I'm intrigued by your interest in golf, because that is an interest of myself as well. And of course, I know that you've published a book called My African Safari. I'd love to hear a little bit about that if we can as well.
Sure. I've been golfing for 5 years, and I think I've enjoyed it. I'm a 13 handicapper, and
so you're much better than me.
Tell me that I can shoot a 10. I've played golf in about 20 countries in the world. I've played in Scotland in some of the finest courses. I've played in Pebble Beach twice, and if I've been a good interviewee, and if you arrange for me to play at Augusta sometime, I'll be much obliged.
Well, I'll do my best, but I guarantee you that I can.
Thank you, and I hope someone who's listening in on this interview invites me over. I'll fly down by the next flight. But photography is my newest passion. I picked up a lovely Canon 500D camera for my daughter, but then I started using it. I went to Africa, to Kenya and Tanzania. We have a 110%ers club, the top performers in the company. So about 200 of my top performers, we had taken them on a 4-day trip to Kenya, and thereafter some of us went over to Tanzania. So I created a book called My African Odyssey.
Oh, interesting.
Which is a kind of a travelogue, and the Prime Minister of Kenya was in India recently. He saw the book and he was amazed, and he loved it. he autographed it personally and complimented me on the book. The other passion that I have is for yoga, because I think for one's holistic development, what's needed is integration of the body, the mind, the intellect, and the soul. And yoga of Patanjali, as taught by Guru B.K. Iyengar, is a wonderful platform to integrate all of this. And I think if there is one gift that India has really given the world, I think it is the practice of yoga.
No, I think you're right, and what you're demonstrating to me also today is your tremendous balance across politics, environmental protection, and security issues, and all of which, of course, has to be a focus from a strategy standpoint of Bajaj Electricals. And with your sort of historic position in the Indian diaspora and history with Gandhi, it's really quite amazing. I think you've really encapsulated the company and your role in that company very well. Yoga is actually a passion of mine. Although unlike you, I'm merely a novice in both golf and yoga. So how do I improve my discipline?
I think it's all about apportioning a certain amount of time, because I think what golf will give you is peace of mind and a sense of being with yourself. What yoga will do is tone up your body, tone up your mind, and enable you to really seek for what is within you in terms of the truth, in terms of the knowledge, and in terms of the wisdom. I think it's just a question of giving it a little time, and you will find it.
So patience.
Patience and effort. It's not easy.
Your book, My African Safari, can you maybe tell us a little bit about how our listeners might be able to get a copy of that?
Well, I just printed a few copies initially. I'll do like this. I mean, maybe I will, when I do the next edition, I'll try and see how I can reach it to you.
Okay, no, that would be wonderful. I'd like to see a copy of that. So we have about 2 minutes. I'd like to ask you to maybe give a summation of your role and any final comments that you'd like to offer to our audience.
All right. Bajaj Electricals as a company is today poised to take advantage of both the consumer boom in India in terms of domestic consumption and also in the infrastructure sector, whether it be in power transmission or in terms of power distribution in terms of rural electrification, or it be in terms of infrastructure projects. We are uniquely poised to take advantage of the Indian opportunity. I passionately believe that the Indian economy is going to be the fastest growing economy over the next 15 years in the world. And it's only through economic growth can we take out the millions of people who are below the poverty line in India and enable them to have dignity and equality in terms of opportunities. I, as a person, as a professional, am deeply committed to doing my little bit for a better world tomorrow. I would like to do whatever I can to make India a better place and probably through that make this world a better place.
Well, thank you so much for your insightful comments. This has truly been a pleasure of mine to interview you today. And again, for our listeners, we've been speaking to Executive Director of Bajaj Electricals, Mr. Ramakrishnan. Thank you so much for joining us, Ram, and we look forward to hearing from you again.
Let me say I've enjoyed this. I would like to convey season's greetings to all your listeners and a wonderful year ahead. One final comment. I think the American economy is still the cradle of innovation. It's still an engine of growth for the entire world. If I were to tell President Obama just 2 messages, what America needs is a little self-confidence. What America needs is a little feel-good factor. I think media has a very important role to play here. There is too much of bad news. There is too much of distress that's getting spread. What America needs is to stand up tall and take its rightful place in terms of, once again, jumping back to being a strong and growing economy in the world.
Thank you so much. I completely agree with your sentiments, and I would agree that we definitely need some confidence, and maybe a little bit of confidence will help us get through this economic struggle that the U.S. and the world is also facing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just a few smiles, I think the world will become a better place.
Yes. Sometimes the optimism, I believe, can make all the difference.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
So next week, we will be resuming our discussions and focus on India. Thank you again to our guest, and I appreciate your time. See you next week.
We hope you enjoyed Globe Talk with Avasant for this week. We'll be here again next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific, on the Voice America Business Channel. Please join your host, Kevin Parikh, and have a nice weekend.
Thanks again for listening to the preceding program, brought to you on the Voice America Business Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericabusiness.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the preceding program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.